Welcome to the Business Advice Podcast, where we discuss marketing, money, and other matters with businessmen around Australia.
Welcome, Jeff. Thank you so much for coming on to our show. I won't butcher your last name, so we'll just call you Jeff G. And so let me introduce you guys to Jeff. He's a man. We're so glad to have him. He has partnered with NSE, which is a multi-billion-dollar public company traded on the NYSE for over 30 years. And it's investing $1.2 billion in developing Project Helix. And Project Helix is an app powered by DNA and microbiome assessments, both of which I know nothing about as a psychologist, but we'll go into, and also biometric wearable tech and IoT, so Internet of Things, right? Connected devices and a proprietary AI algorithm, which is set to disrupt the trillion-dollar health, wellness, beauty, and fitness industries globally. And NSE believes they can become the world's #1 health, wellness, beauty, and fitness company, capturing 10% market share of this $2 trillion market, growing revenue to upwards of $200 billion annually. All these numbers are very exciting, but what's even more exciting is this app is due to launch in 2025, creating a sub-basement opportunity where early adopters have the potential to profit share 65% as it reaches potentially 1 billion consumers globally. Now, these are massive numbers we're throwing around here. I don't think we've had a guest of this caliber, Adam, so far, who has these numbers. I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but we're so glad to have you here, Jeff.
David, thanks for having me, and you did a great job. Millions, billions, it's a big thing.
I know.
I once measured it. A million seconds is about 11 days. A billion seconds is 33 years. So it's a big thing, a billion. It's hard to comprehend.
That's actually a better metric in my mind than just the number of zeros.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anyway,
Awesome.
I'm glad to be here and can't wait to share my story and see if we can add value to the community.
Awesome. I'm sure we will. So exciting thing is we always start at the beginning. Jeff, where were you born and raised?
Okay. Great question. So I grew up in the U.S., little tiny town, about 100,000 people up near Niagara Falls, little place called Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah. Heard of Erie. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I've been here living in New Zealand for the last 40 plus years. My mother married a Kiwi in a second marriage, and we ended up down here, and it's been an amazing adventure.
Okay, so do you count yourself a Kiwi or an American?
Well, listen, I was born American, but I think I'm Kiwi at heart for sure. I'm a New Zealand citizen. I'm a New Zealand citizen. My kids are all grown here, and my life is here. So I love it here.
Okay, beautiful, awesome. And so, how was your schooling like in New Zealand?
Yeah, so listen. I arrived in New Zealand back in 1983. I shortly after arriving, I dropped out of school. I got a good job washing dishes in a restaurant. In fact, I traveled to Oz first. I went up to a place called Cherry, where we picked cherries, and then we went to a place called Orange. We went to a place called Orange, and we picked oranges, and then and ended up back in New Zealand. I was actually looking for just a job to make some cash, to want to go learn to sail around the islands, and I met some cool people who were living that kind of lifestyle. And then next thing you know, I was working, and met a girl, how it works, and next thing you know, I was kind of stayed in New Zealand. I stayed in the hospitality and restaurant industry for about 6-7 years.
Oh wow. Okay. So do you say dishwashing?
I said dishwashing. So they hired me as a dishwasher, and the story gets worse, David.
It gets worse.
In a Pizza Hut. This is back in the days when the Pizza Huts were like an hour long on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night to get in. They did see amazing. They did see amazing ability in my dishwashing skills, and they had promoted me into their management system. which basically
you were that good.
I'm a diligent dishwasher. My wife can tell you.
Right.
But basically, they were desperate for full-time staff, and they thought they can pay me less working in the management training system than they can as a casual employee. So I wish it was because I was so good, but I think it was a bit of desperation on their part.
Desperation. Yeah. How many swipes does it take for a dish these days?
Well, back then, you just throw it in the tray and you throw it in the sanitizer. That was it. Stack those babies.
Okay. That's the extra flavor, right, in the pizza.
Exactly.
All right. So hospitality industry, but then now you're a far cry from that. There's DNA involved. There's helixes involved. Like, how was that journey?
Yeah, well, let me tell you the story. So my father was a doctor, a surgeon. He died. He passed away of a heart attack at age 54, and that kind of.
Right.
You know, if you like, if there was a smooth track in life and a goat track, I kind of took the goat track. We kind of rebelled against everything, and when he passed away at a young age, it really started me thinking about prevention and healthcare and how could this happen to him, and it just kind of changed the direction of my life. And so that's what happened, and so I became curious, and then eventually kind of obsessed with health and wellness and that kind of world.
Okay.
So that's how I got involved in this industry going back 33 years ago.
Wow. Okay. So what was your first step? What was the transition like from hospitality to, I won't say hospitals because that sounds cool, alliteration, but to the medical industry?
Well, listen, what happened for me is I was working for Pepsi. I started out, as I said, washing dishes in a Pizza Hut. I ended up in the management system. When I left them back in 1989, well before you were born, I was running 5 restaurants, 300 staff.
Oh, wow.
10 million. And I saved the company in that year of $3 million. So kind of inflation adjusted, that's probably like $10 million in today's terms. And I got a $500 bonus. And that $500 bonus just kind of really, that combined with my father passing, I just thought, I'm finished here. And we ended up going back to the U.S. and I don't know if you believe in fate or the universe or what you believe in, but we managed to come across a company that was wanting to launch its product line here in Australia and New Zealand, and we partnered with them.
Perfect.
The company NSE, and over a period of those first few years, we turned over millions of dollars of products here locally, and that led to a business that's turned over hundreds of millions of dollars here in the Pacific. It was quite an adventure, if you like.
Right. Did you have any sort of hesitance about stepping into this industry that you didn't grow up in and you weren't exposed to beforehand?
Well, yeah, I think everyone does. When you start something new, as they say, you go through 4 phases. You go through unconscious incompetence, where you don't know you don't know what you're doing, right? And then you pretty quickly go into conscious incompetence, where you don't know you don't know what you don't know what you're doing.
Don't know. Yeah.
and then you go to conscious, competence, where you know what you're doing, but it's really mechanical, and then eventually unconscious competence. And it's like when you learn to drive a car, you think I can do it.
Muscle memory.
You hop in and you stall it. It's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And then you're kind of thinking about, clutch down, gas on, left, right, indicator, etc. And not long after you get home and you think, gosh, how'd I get here? It became unconsciously competent. So I think definitely those first few years we did need guidance, and I had some great mentors and great people who took me under their arm and said, you know what, we'll teach you the ropes. And that changed my life. Actually, there were a handful of people who really believed in me, but probably before I believed in myself. And that really changed my life in incredible ways. And now I kind of get the opportunity to kind of mentor other people and kind of pay back, if you like, for the people who've helped me, maybe give a hand to other people. And I think that's what's great about this group you guys have here, is you're all about supporting one another, giving each other a hand up, not a hand out, but a hand up.
Absolutely.
That's just fantastic.
Yeah. You mentioned finding mentors has been critical to your success. How did you find them?
Yeah. So listen, there was a gentleman who reached out to me, and he said to me, okay, listen, if you're going to be successful in business, the first thing I do is have a plan. And I'm like, no, I just want to make money. want to make money. I'm just going to get it. I'm going to work hard. He said,
That's
no.
Yeah.
He said, before you're going to make money, you're going to have a plan. And so he actually asked me to write out 101 goals, like sit down and design, what would I like to have? Where would I like to go? Like get purpose and get purposeful in it. And I found it pretty hard to actually, if anyone's ever tried to do an exercise like that, what he told me later is that it's designed to be hard because it's an exercise in deservability. Do you deserve to have that life you want? And most of us growing up, I'm not sure about you and your life, but most people growing up get told no. Can I have this toy? No. Can I go to the park?
Right.
No. No. We get told no so often. We're now adults. We can accomplish anything, but in the back, in our mental little voice in our head that talks to us, it kind of stops us from achieving our full potential. And so someone believed in me and got me to do that exercise, and it was really powerful.
Right. Okay. And so how do you find your subsequent mentors? Like, do you go out of your way to approach them, or is it by chance?
Yeah, listen, I think sometimes you can find someone you resonate with and you want to approach them.
Yeah.
Other times, fate, the universe, the right people appear at the right time. I'm kind of a believer in that. For me, the right people turned up at the right time. I kind of didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what I was even looking for, what I was lacking. So it was kind of maybe serendipitous or, lucky that I met some people who were willing to take me under their arm and, under their wing, if you like, and say, listen, let's teach you the ropes. So.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful. Very lucky, but also there's an element of luck where you make your own luck. So in terms of Helix, what's the story behind that?
Well, okay, so there's a story. So we worked hard. We built a business that turned over a few $100 million. My wife likes to say we did workshops. I did the work and she shopped.
Perfect team.
And I'm very grateful though that she shopped for houses, not handbags. That's my story.
Okay, right.
My wife, she invests well.
Okay.
And she built up she bought about 40 houses over 3 years.
Wow.
And she kept a good number of those as rentals, and she sold a few, and really built up an incredible property portfolio. And so we retired. We retired about I guess maybe 11 years ago, and for 10 years we traveled with everything from down in Antarctica on a business think tank with a whole lot of Aussie guys to Budapest to Amsterdam by river cruises and African safaris and hot air ballooning in Turkey. I mean, we've done all sorts of cool things, and working on a few passion projects. And then, then about a year ago, NSE, the company that I've been partnered with, and our business has still been operating during those 10 years while we're retired. So we created a leveraged, business that literally operated with us or without us. And I think that's the important thing. There's lots of ways to make money, but if you don't have the freedom and the free time to enjoy
absolutely.
Then like my son,
you're working for the company, not with.
Well, that's right. You can own your own company, but still be a slave to it. And so, we had created systems that allowed us to have that leverage and that freedom to travel. And anyway, the company NSE got a hold of me and said, "Listen, we're working on this project called Project Helix. We would like to know if you'd like to come and help us to pioneer this around the world." I asked what it was about. They said, "Listen, you got to really come up and check it out because it's kind of hard to describe. But we're going to combine AI and DNA together, and we think we can disrupt this $2 trillion industry, what you were talking about before." And so my wife and I flew up, and my mind was literally blown, like totally blown. And the project that they shared with us, what they're going to do, is essentially they were developing an app. And you read a bit of this in the intro, but essentially developing an app powered by AI. They had partnered with some of the top technology companies in the world, companies like AWS, AI vendors like Full Power AI and Anthropic, companies like Core AI, the guys from ChatGPT, the OpenAI guys, all these different AI affiliates. They partnered with a company out of India, which was one of the top e-commerce companies in the world. And they were investing this $1.2 billion. And the app, if you're familiar with MyFitnessPal or Noom.
Oh, yeah.
you might have a bit of a general idea. Those two apps have had 300 million downloads in recent years, like just out of the box phenomenal. And they're great apps, but they're not AI powered, and they don't really offer solutions beyond some general advice.
Yeah, they're pretty simple tracking apps. Yeah.
So this app that they're developing, consumers could literally interact, ordering DNA assessments to be little kits sent to their home. To look into the future of, are there any gene mutations or what they inherited, what obstacles might be in the future. Microbiome assessments to measure gut health. The knowledge around gut health and brain health and heart health.
The research is really blowing up in that.
Unbelievable, the link between our microbiome and our mental wellness and our physical wellness. You could do both mental and physical health assessments, cognitive function, stress, anxiety, personality, etc., through to how are your joints and how is your libido, how is your weight or your energy levels, these sort of things. They created the APIs, or the ability to track and put all of the I don't know what digital watch, but your Fitbit or your Apple Watch, your Garmin, your Oura Ring, or the new Samsung Galaxy Ring coming. These are biometric devices that can measure sleep and steps and stress, and soon blood sugar. It's gonna be a game changer.
Absolutely.
And then lastly, they had this little device they created, which allows them to map inside the body. You may have been to the gym before, and you step on those scales. You hold that little rod.
It
makes your body
BMI?
fat. Measure your BMI, your body fat, your visceral fat, your muscle mass, etc. This can measure about 300 different parameters inside your body. And what they're going to do, David, this is kind of it's Star Trek, but they're going to create a digital twin of every consumer. Here is you today, and here is David optimized.
Oh, wow.
So in other words, how could we optimize every single? What foods should you be eating based on your DNA, your microbiome, what your goals, what you need, what foods to avoid, what exercises are best for you, and then we'll be able to create literally a little personalized nutrition pack that is nutrient. What nutrients are you deficient in? To create the perfect product for you. So anyway, this is I didn't come on to pitch.
But that's incredible.
But this is mind blowing, and they think they can grow to the size of Microsoft or Samsung. I mean, they can really literally disrupt the market, just like Uber disrupted the transportation industry, or just like Netflix has disrupted entertainment, or you could talk about Tesla in the car industry, or Apple with the music industry. Disruption in technology changes entire industries, and so they think they can disrupt this, being a first mover. There are companies doing DNA testing, and there's companies doing microbiome testing. There's companies you can get a Fitbit or an Apple Watch. You can go stand on the scales at the gym, but no one's brought all of that together with AI.
Nothing comprehensive.
To create a personalized program for each individual person, and a personalized nutrition pack for each individual, designed for each individual. They can even, this is the cool part, they can even on a quarterly basis send little test kit, a little bit of saliva with PCR testing. Now they can measure in saliva almost identically to what's in the blood, your cortisol, your cholesterol, your microbiome, your minerals and nutrients, and then they can adjust. Maybe someone starts out with 7 little tablets in a packet, but maybe after 4, 5, 6 months they're eating better, they lost a bit of weight, they're reduced their stress, they're sleeping better. They only need half of that. And so we can have integrity to give people what they need when they need it. Do we pop a little bit of immune formula in during the winter season? My wife went through perimenopause. Her nutritional needs are very different today than they were 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
As men go through menopause, our hormonal things are changing. And so for the first time, we can create formulas and products designed for each individual. Anyway, that's my pitch. I didn't come here to pitch. I thought we were going to come talk about the money and the money.
That's it. That's it.
So I apologize if that got a bit. I get a little bit passionate about that. So
it's just a little bit excited. I mean, it's you got me a little excited. I'm like, the twin thing is exactly what I've been dreaming about, and wow, finally, science is at that stage. That's beautiful.
And I'll just be honest with you. To me, it's not about money. And let me make sure we tell the universe the right thing. Let's go create a multi-billion-dollar business. But for me, what has me engaged and out of retirement is what if we could impact 1 billion people on the planet?
Yeah.
What if we could help empower people with knowledge about where they're at today, where they're going to be, and then how can we modify behavior and diet and nutrition? Ultimately, it should come from our foods. It's more and more difficult to do that. We could have a 2-hour conversation about what's lacking in our, in our food chain and challenges around that and processed foods and things. But ultimately, how can we help empower people to live healthier longer in the blue zones? We all enter the world in diapers, right? No one wants to leave in diapers. We want to live life full on and pop out instead of getting to sort of 50, 60, 70 and expecting to deteriorate and fade out. No one wants that. So that was sparked by my father passing, and maybe it was kind of the greatest gift ever, because we ended up creating a business that's helped impact lots of people around the world, and we think we can impact a lot more. So anyway, that's a bit about me. It's kind of a boring story from school dropout dishwasher guy to
I wouldn't call that boring. I'd say that's inspirational from most of our listeners, because a lot of them are probably in the dishwashing phase. So
it's not over until it's over, right?
Love that.
That's what is it? A good Chinese proverb: get knocked down 6 times, get up 7. That's the key. So
love it. So we've been talking about the upsides, right? The things you're excited about. Let's take half a step back and talk about the greatest challenge you've had in your journey, whether it's with NSE or with Helix. What has been a personal challenge for you?
Listen, I think that the greatest challenge I have experienced, and probably maybe people can relate to this, is the little voice in our heads that talk to us all the time.
Right.
And I'm not sure if you guys all know what I'm talking about. But if you're saying what voice, I'm going to voice, that's the voice, right? The voice that talks to us all the time, and gives us self-doubts that starts over analyzing or making impromptu decisions too quickly without thinking about it. I mean, there's all sorts of pluses and minuses, but probably the obstacle really of my own mindset. I'm a different person today than I was 30 plus years ago. I've had to work on my self-development. I've been a big fan of who I am today as a result of the books I've read and the people I've associated with. I think also the group of people I used to hang around, and they were great people. No disrespect, but they were the group I hung around in the hospital industry. Was they get paid on Thursday? After work, we'd be at the pub Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, having a great time. Hungover Sunday, broke Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, waiting for Thursday. And that was the process. And listen, great people. But your life will look like, and I learned this, and I found it to be true. Your life will look like the 10 people you hang around.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you hang around people that are up to stuff, your life is going to be up to stuff. If you hang around people who are wealthy, you will become wealthy. If you hang around people who are fit, you're going to become fit. If you hang around people who got a negative attitude and everything's the sky's falling, then the sky will be falling for you. So you have to guard your attitude. I had to guard mine, and I had to kind of change the group of people I hung around. And really surround myself with the kind of people who were uplifting to where I wanted to be. You have to surround yourself with people where you want to be. And that was tough. And I'm not saying cut off your friends, but I'm saying just think about where you spend your time, where your mind is. And so I think the books I read, the people I hung out with, and then the environment I put myself in. Lots of courses, and I've invested over $100,000 in self-development.
Wow.
Because the nature of me growing up was a bit of a rebel. If I kept following that same pattern, I might not be where I am today. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned courses. I think that's a good segue into what you mentioned before. Any recommended courses?
Well, listen, my first kind of self-development thing was it was this meditation type program. I loved it. It was great. It doesn't exist anymore. It kind of faded away, but it was a phenomenal program. I learned lots. I studying Carl Jung and synchronicity and all these type of things. I then bought those Tony Robbins. This is back. Gosh, this is back.
Oh yeah, Tony Robbins.
Must be 1990. I want to say Tony Robbins. Waking. And I remember the music still. Live with passion. And I listened to those cassette tapes. I must have listened to them so many times that the tapes got thin or something. But it was a series of 36 cassette tapes or something. This big box. And I remember it gave me the courage to know that I had to make changes and positive changes in my life. And I took action. One of the things I have been good at in my life is I'm not just someone who's like the next course, the next thing will be, the next book will be The Secret. The next, I learn something and I apply it. And so I think it's really
that makes a difference. Yeah.
If you don't apply knowledge and test and measure, then then it'll be a real tough road. I did a lot of work with a company called Landmark, and that was really amazing around relationship stuff. My now wife, then girlfriend, and I did that program, and we had split up, and it brought us back together, and we got some great communication skills and some really great, skills in around our personal self-development, if you like, our personal limitations and those sort of things. One of the most fun courses I've done, and that was this Money and You program. We were in Antarctica on a business thing.
It was run in Antarctica.
Well, no, I'll tell you this. There's always a story. There's always a story. So a friend of mine, his name is Craig. He was my boss in Pepsi, and we got.
He was your boss back in the day.
He was my boss, and so. We stayed friends for all these years, and about 10 years ago, he calls me and says, "Jeff," I said, "Hey, Craig, how you doing?" He said, "Do you want to come to Antarctica?" I'm like, "Antarctica? That's not often you get a question like that on a quick phone call." He said, "Yeah, I'm working with these guys. They're part of this group called the Unstoppables. They're going to take 100 entrepreneurs from Australia, a couple Kiwis, to Antarctica on a business think tank to kind of collaborate and dream up ideas on how to create sustainable businesses, into the next 100 years. Instead of digging another mine or drilling for another, what can we do in a sustainable way to benefit the planet, but also
that's amazing.
Make money. And there were a couple billionaires came on this cruise, and there were people. You had to have a kind of a $10 million business up, and so we had to apply and fill out forms and be interviewed, and are you the right fit for this group? Anyway, we go on this cruise, and there we met a woman named Dame DC Cordova, and she's originally from Chilean, grew up and lived in the United States, and she owned the rights to this program called Money and You. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a pretty cool course. Some of you may have heard of Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Poor Dad guy. He was the head trainer for the Money and You program for about 17, 18 years, I think. And before he launched his Rich Dad series. And a lot of the principles he teaches in that book came from Money and You. And so my friend Craig and I, we thought, that sounds like a good program. We'll go up to the U.S. And we flew up to San Diego and did this program. And wow, not only the most fun I've ever had on a course. Like, it's not sitting there with pen and paper and just absorbing.
Right.
It was like interactive, and they played about a dozen different games over the 4 days. Playing games. You're playing a game, and what's really cool is when you're playing a game, your brain can't distinguish a game from reality, and so you watch your behaviors pop out, and as you're watching your behaviors pop out, you get huge insights as to is this how I'm playing? And so I had some major insights myself personally. My friend Craig had some unbelievable insights. And you watched as not only your own insights, but you get to watch other people's insights, and that also helps you. And and we used a lot of those principles to help scale our business. In fact, even during the pandemic, we over doubled our business while everyone else was freaking out. During the pandemic, and there were Money and You principles that we have put in place that helped us scale, and it was phenomenal. So it's but I think whether it be the Tony Robbins, if you like the hype and the rah, let's with passion, or or whether you like the landmark kind of stuff, which is a chalkboard and you're sitting there all on your head the whole time, or whether you like the new type thing. I think self-development, reading, good books, keeping your mind sharp. I love this saying by Abraham Lincoln, the American president, so famous. He said, if I had 30 minutes to cut down a tree, I'd spend 20 minutes sharpening my axe.
Yeah.
And I really think a lot of us, we're out there just hacking away at life. And if we just thought, hold on, let's just sharpen ourselves first, get our thinking right, and then it makes the job easy,
Yeah.
So.
Wow, wonderful. That's so awesome. I mean, pretty much sold on money, and you having fun and self-development, those don't usually come hand in hand.
Well, to be transparent, we actually bought the rights. I funded buying the rights for the program here for Australia and New Zealand. I no longer have any involvement. It was more of a passion. We didn't make any money. It was more of a passion project. But our friend Craig and Rill, they still run that program, and I'm happy to have helped to bring it and impact people's lives in a positive way, because it really had a huge impact on my life and my business. It's kind of a pay it forward type of thing.
Yeah. That's a theme. That's a theme from you, paying it forward.
Well, I think that if you help enough other people in life, you get to help yourself, but help others first. I like to call myself number two, put everyone else as number one, and if you do that in life, you're going to go far. I think that's really, it just resonates with people, be interested in people. I was saying to Adam earlier, be interested in people and they'll be interested in you. That's the secret of success,
Yes.
So
wonderful. Awesome. So you've done a lot of things right, obviously, to get to this point. And you mentioned challenges, but is there anything that you would have done differently if you could go back?
Wow, that's a fantastic question. Absolutely authentically, David, I wouldn't have changed a thing. We've made some massive mistakes that cost us millions of dollars, but those mistakes helped us make corrections that helped us get to where we are today. And had we not made those mistakes, we wouldn't be in the same place. And so I'm a firm believer that when you're climbing the mountains, and you're at the top of a peak, right? And you go, I'm at 10,000 feet or something, 3,000 meters. I want to get to 5,000 meters. That next hill over there, that's where I want to go to next. You've got to go down into a valley, right, to get to the next peak. You don't hop from peak to peak. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the mistakes we made, those are the valleys. But those valleys, those mistakes made us stronger, made us wiser.
Absolutely.
And I don't think we would have got to the next peak had it not been for the obstacles in the journey. And so can I tell you a story? I love
absolutely.
It. So I'm a bit of a Lord of the Rings fan. I don't know if you guys are. So let's reframe the story, right?
Okay.
Of the Shire, and there's Frodo, and he catches up with Gandalf, and Gandalf tells him about the evil Sauron that's going to destroy the Shire. And if he could just take this ring and get the ring up to the volcano and throw it in, he could destroy evil Sauron. And Frodo goes, hey, no problem. I'll grab my friend Sam. We'll pack a little picnic, and we'll just stroll into the mountains there, and we'll just throw it in, and we'll kill the evil Sauron. And they pack this picnic lunch, and they go strolling through the meadow, and there's butterflies, and there's clouds in the air, and the sun is shining, and they're singing songs, and they camp out at night under the tree and looking at the stars, sharing stories. They wake up the next morning, go to the top of the volcano, and throw the ring in, and the evil Sauron is destroyed. Who thinks that would be the most epic tale of all times?
Not even Gollum. No fellowship.
Gollum. It's boring, right? It's absolutely boring.
Yeah.
So I think in the story, the journey that made it such a compelling, gripping, epic tale was at every obstacle, at every corner there's an obstacle, and those obstacles led to a way to find a way around that obstacle and eventually defeat the evil Sauron. And I think that when this kind of comes back to self-development, don't wish for life to be easier. Don't wish for life to be easier. Focus ourselves on being better. If my life isn't the way I want it, it's because of me. It's not because of the world. Not because of the stock market. It's not because of the interest rates. It's not because of the economy. It's not because of the government. It's not because of my wife or my husband or my family or my upbringing. It's always to do with us, right?
Yeah.
So if you want life to be better, focus first on yourself. And and that's kind of hard for some people to hear, but I'll tell you what, when you focus on making you better, right? Then all of a sudden everything gets, I tell my kids, 30, well, not kids anymore, 35, 34, and 32, a couple of grandkids, but I tell them, be hard on yourself and life will be easy.
Oh, that's good. That's gold.
Be easy on yourself and life will be hard on you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know that because I was easy on myself for the first 10 or so years, cruising along, hospitality, having fun. And life was hard. When I started my business, we had 3 kids under 5 living on mattresses on the floor, banana boxes for their clothes. We were 70 grand in debt.
That's not easy. Yeah.
One day I found an old Honda with a leaky sunroof and one day I found a mushroom. I found a mushroom growing in the carpet of the car. That's
a new low.
It wasn't a magic mushroom, right? That would have been okay, but it was like one of those, fungus. It was like musky. It was. I used to tell people we had a Rolls Canardly. Have you got those in Australia? Rolls Canardlys. It rolls down the road and can hardly get up the other side. That was my car. It was, our life was a mess. But it wasn't until we started working on ourselves. When I wrote down those goals, when I started doing self-development, when I started reading good books and started, surrounding myself with good people, that my life miraculously started to change.
Wow.
I
it starts with you.
It does. It starts with you.
Right.
When you point your finger out saying it's everyone else's fault, right? There's always 3 fingers. 3 fingers on the back of you, right?
Yeah.
You take personal responsibility. And I'm not saying, that it happens overnight, but when you start to get yourself in that mindset of what can I do, right?
Yeah.
About my thinking, about miracles start happening. I really believe that. I've seen it happen over and over and over again.
Wow. That's amazing. That's great, man. And look, we finish up every segment with one thing, and that is if you could give everyone who's listening one piece of advice. I think you mentioned a few great, golden pieces of advice, but if there's anything left, what would it be?
One great piece of advice. One. Only one.
Just one.
I think it's gratefulness. Be grateful right now for all the things that you have. Make a list of everything you're grateful for.
Okay.
Right? Literally, are you grateful you live in the country of Australia or New Zealand or wherever you're tuning in from? Are you grateful that there was food on the table today? Are you grateful for the friends of your family, for the people? Are you grateful for this amazing community that you guys have to support each other? Are you grateful for clean air? Are you grateful for, actually starting to be grateful in life instead of complaining and thinking, what don't I have? Start being grateful for what you do have. And there's real power in gratefulness. I think that's probably and it's something I even myself, as I'm thinking about this, I need to be more grateful myself. It's really easy to become, overconfident or start looking at all the downsides of things. Just looking at the gratefulness, and then think about how can you help others. Start thinking about how can I help someone else? Can I just help one? I don't know. I don't care if it's just I'm driving along and I'll let that person pass me or let them turn, let them out. Let them go through when they're trying to pull out into the road. Let them through. Just try to do something kind. And watch all of a sudden the universe starting giving you more kindness back. I really believe that our lives become a reflection of what we receive in life. And so I don't want to get
beautiful
woo-woo, or I'm not that woo-woo or that spiritual, but I really do believe that. So
that's beautiful. That's so good. Thank you so much, Jeff. I think there's so much to be said and so much more to unpack because there's Helix, there's NSC and everything. So all the best to your ventures. I'm sure we're going to have a follow-up conversation at some point, especially as you keep us posted on Project Helix.
I'd love to come back anytime. And if anyone wants to reach out and learn more, I'll get a little video I can send them at the Helix thing, and you guys can check it out if you're curious. But I tell you, work on yourself, be grateful, contribute, have a vision, focus on those 101 goals, find yourself a mentor, find someone just to hold you accountable. Stop blaming the world and start taking responsibility, and just take a little step every day in a positive direction. Just a little step. One degree better every day, becomes 365 degrees to change a life, in a year. So hey, thank you so much, guys, for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been fantastic meeting Adam and David. We've only just got to meet each other today, but really great to meet you. And if I can contribute any way to this community, I'm absolutely happy to.
Awesome. Well, this talk was already fantastic. I'm sure everyone, myself included, have gained so much from it. Thank you. And we'll keep in contact, Jeff. Looking forward to it. Bye, everybody. All right. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Business Advice Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.